Right, we're on. Today we're going to talk about hovering the golf club, the driver head against the golf ball. How would hovering, or why does hovering the golf club seem to improve people's golf, change ball flight, give them more consistency? Why is there guys on tour doing this now? You look at players like Bryson DeChambeau, Rory McIlroy, Dustin Johnson hovering the golf club behind the golf ball. How can it help your game? Here we go. Right, before we start, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, that would be much appreciated. Also the little thumbs up button and the bell notification icon. They're all down there. Only takes a second. So hovering the golf club behind the golf ball is very much a common thing on tour now. Much better contact with golf ball. Why is this? Why is these guys doing that? Well, simple. If you look at Bryson DeChambeau, for example, straight left arm, one plane swing, starts with the club in the air behind the golf ball and returns to that position. Now, returning to that position is fantastic. There's a radius between our left shoulder and our club head, and a radius between the left shoulder and the golf ball. Keep it simple though. So I take my address position, I'll just put club on the ground just now, and if I draw a line from my left shoulder to the golf ball, there's that length, and then the left shoulder to the sweet spot, similar length. Now at no point in time do I want the distance between my shoulder and my club head to get longer than my shoulder to the golf ball. So I don't want to come down in this position with the club head further away from my left shoulder than where I started at address, because something's going to have to happen at impact. If that is the case and I early extend, so let's imagine I early extend into the shot, that is a byproduct of this radius or distance between left shoulder and sweet spot getting longer than the radius between left shoulder and golf ball, so I've had to extend to try and bring that back in there. Alternatively, what can happen if that sweet spot radius, or the radius between sweet spot and left shoulder, gets longer again, in here I'm going to have to bring my arms in to try and fix that. So now we've got this lever here, we had it addressed, we've lost that because it's gone long, I've had to pull it in. So impact, I've lost this structure here because I've tried to reduce that distance between sweet spot and left shoulder. Another thing that can happen is, again, that gets long, so I tilt back to try and bring it back in, which is a form of early extension and too much tilt to try and bring this extended length between sweet spot and left shoulder back to the golf ball. And of course the opposite can happen as well. What if that distance gets shorter? Shorter's not so bad, we can get out of that, but certainly longer's not a good thing. So hover club head, there. Now what guys do on tour, let's think about Bryson DeChambeau, Greg Norman, he did it, he hovered the club head, Jack Nicklaus hovered the club head, Dustin Johnson, McIlroy started to hover before he takes the club back. Now they do a very specific thing before they take their address position. They ensure their left arm is in a stretched position. They make sure at address they've got that left arm stretched, not locked, not wooden, not solid, but in a stretched position. That's maintained, or that's given them the starting point or the radius between sweet spot and left shoulder, and that's the position they want to turn back to, or that length, that radius is what they want to turn back to impact. What does that mean to us? What does that mean to the average golfer? How's that going to benefit us? Well, simple. Stretch the left arm out, good address position, and then from there, hit your shot. It's that easy. If I have the club head hovering in front behind the golf ball, I'm in a good position to return to. But what do we do? We put the club behind the ball, so that's made the radius slightly different. There, being radius, then I put the club down behind the ball. You can see from that position there to there, the radius has changed just slightly. Now I'm going to have to make some alteration at impact now, because my address position is very different than where my impact position is going to be. So what we can do is we can take our address position. Guys on tour who hover, these guys on tour who hover, what they do is they stretch the arm out, club behind the golf ball, hit it. If they don't hover, they stretch the left arm out, lower the golf club, so now the golf ball is sitting slightly towards the toe. It's not a bad place to hit it, to be honest with you, but slightly towards the toe, yet they still hit it out the middle because they get that extension through impact. They've got themselves in a position, or they've set themselves up with club head behind golf ball, lowered it, which has put the ball slightly towards the toe, except that's the case because the levers are in place, bang, hit golf ball. So there's two options. If you put it on the ground, stretch the club out. Get the left arm nice and stretched, not way out here, but stretched, not wooden, but just a nice stretched position. Club behind ball, then drop club. Now you can see the club head there is slightly towards the toe. Yet as I come and hit golf ball, I'm getting back to my position at address. Here we go, there. Great strike. Got myself stretched to begin with, dropped the club, was addressing the toe, yet at impact came perfectly in the middle of the golf club because I'd made the radius from the start. And all I'd done at impact was the club was slightly higher, but the radius was the same. Same radius, starting point slightly different from impact, but radius was the same. It does look a little bit weird having the ball towards the toe, it's just a fraction though. Other way of doing it, hover the club, return to there. Hover club, left arm stretched, keep it there. Not so much stretched left arm, well, a little bit stretched left arm. There, returning back to the position where I've started from. So this for me is more Bryson, more McIlroy, more Jack Nicklaus, Greg Norman. That T square. This dog leg's left, by the way. There, that's my return position there. Good. Again, good shot, radius is intact. I personally like to start with the golf club on the ground, grew up doing that, didn't quite understand about radiuses or distances or things like that, but simply getting the left shoulder and the club sweet spot, if that radius changes between left shoulder or gets longer, if that gets longer than the radius between the left shoulder and the golf ball at address, then compensations have to be made, and compensations is the last thing we want to be doing when playing golf. I'm going to hit one more. I'm going to hover again. So I'm hovered, I've got my radius and I'm maintaining that radius and back to that radius. Or left arm stretched, or I can drop it. So I'm now more from the toe and returning the club to a higher position. If I lift this up, as I lift it up, you'll see the ball goes more towards the middle, toe, middle. I'm going to hover this one, I'm going to hit this one hard. Left arm, there. There's impact there. Back to impact. There,